Welcome into Cavaliers Live, presented by Wayside Furniture. The Cavaliers beat the Bulls 115-110. Standing by now with James Harden. James, you guys lead by 29 there midway through the third quarter. They battle back. So just how do you evaluate the win?
It's not good enough. We got to do it. We got to be more professional, do a better job of closing that game out a lot earlier. We did a really good job. We got off to a slow start. We did a really good job of, getting that 29-point lead, and then, we started being careless with the ball with our possession. So we got to just be better.
How important is it to know how to sustain that? What are the keys to doing that?
That's the game right there. You do an unbelievable job of getting up and securing the lead and doing a really good job, and then everything that you worked hard for, you just let it, go down the drain. So, we got to watch film and get better at that.
All right, well, you and Evan Mobley combined for over 50 points, back-to-back games of doing that. What are you learning about how you're developing that partnership with him?
We don't really have practices, so the games is our practice. We figured it out throughout the course of the game. So, tonight was another example of that. So just continue to communicate, get better, find out what works and what doesn't work.
Hey, Jalen Tyson really came alive in this game. 18 points, 11 rebounds. How much are you seeing his potential to help his team?
Consistency. That's what we need from him. I know he's a young guy, second year, but we need that consistently. Making or missing shots. I think it's his effort and the small things, the details that he brings to the game that helps our team win. So, great game tonight.
Appreciate your time.
Thank you.
The Cavs win here in Chicago, 115-110. Don't go anywhere. We have got more on Cavs Live. Kenny Atkinson, we will hear from him in his post-game press conference. We might hear from some players. You never know unless you watch. Stay with us in the Cavaliers Live post-game. Welcome back to Cavaliers Live, presented by Wayside Furniture. The Cavaliers weather the storm here in the end in Chicago. Beat the Bulls 115-110. But the final score is not the whole story of this one, Brad Daugherty. Listen, the Cavaliers were up by as many as 29 points midway through the third quarter. Bulls battle back all the way to within one. So when you evaluate this, where do the Cavaliers need to be sharper?
Yeah, it's disappointing because the Bulls actually went on a 33-8 run, and the Cavs were so dynamic offensively throughout the first three quarters of this basketball game, and they just lost their way a little bit and couldn't quite get back into the execution mode, started running up and down, matching shots. And that's just discipline. So we'll learn a lot from this, just like we learned from coming out of Milwaukee. We came into tonight's game. We were better at stopping the basketball on the perimeter than we've been in the past couple of games. So you got to remember, we're on the road. This team is supposed to give us a heck of a challenge on the road. This is their home court, and they did. They fought their way back. But like James Harden said, and you're going to hear him say, we just kind of gave it away. Everything went down the drain, all that hard work. But we showed resiliency in that last 5 minutes, made a couple of big shots. Dennis Schroeder made some big free throws and separated us.
Well, you mentioned James Harden, and his play is our Misney Make 'em Pay moment, brought to you by Tim Misney. James Harden finished with 36 points, 9 assists, 7 rebounds. He got to the free throw line 11 times, and by the way, he hit 7 threes.
Yeah.
What did you see? I mean, listen, we know that's the James Harden that we can get every night, but what impressed you most?
Yeah, I mean, this is one of the best offensive players to ever play this game. And tonight, from bell to buzzer, he was phenomenal at scoring the basketball. But again, his elite setup is what you really look. That's how we got that 29-point lead. He was throwing the basketball around the floor. The assists were coming ad nauseum, and he's putting guys in good spots to make shots. So he played the complete game tonight. He was unbelievable. He was fantastic, and I'm so glad he's on our team.
Yeah, had a good game. At Milwaukee as well, had 27 in that game, as well as 6 assists. So starting to see him shape into form here. You know what I really loved? I thought a great bright spot of this game was Jalen Tyson, Brad, because it felt like he just needed one of these types of games to kind of get that swagger, that confidence back. He had 18 points, 11 big rebounds. He was working his way on the defensive end. What'd you see?
Yeah, no doubt about it. He's been in and out of the lineup because of rotation, so you have a tendency to pout a little bit. The guy he's a competitor, and I think he wanted to show what his worth is to this team tonight. Felt like to me, he had something to prove, and 5 big offensive rebounds. He was aggressive on both ends of the floor. He played outstanding. Now he puts pressure back on Coach Atkinson to put him back in that rotation, and that's what you want as a coach from your players.
Really good point about the offensive rebounds. 5 of his 11 rebounds were on the offensive end, and he was one of our double-double guys alongside Evan Mobley, who finished with 26 points and 14 rebounds. And oh, by the way, don't you remember, we said we were going to put him in the parlay.
Yeah.
Put him in the double-double category, Brad. So how good is it just to see Evan build off the good performance?
He was just absolutely dominant on both ends of the floor. And the thing I like about it wasn't the fantastic plays. It's when things broke down, he was scrapping on that defensive end, whether it was trying to block a shot or just get his hand on the ball to keep the possession alive. And so he was phenomenal tonight. I like how forceful he's being around that rim, though. That is a different level, Evan Mobley.
You know what else is phenomenal, Brad?
There you go.
Take a look at this. All
Wow.
right, Cavaliers win. James Harden, boy, does he hit the over. And
Wow.
Evan Mobley
Yeah,
double-double.
he really hit the over.
That means if you bet $10, are you ready for it, Brad?
How much?
You won the parlay, you win $27.
Wow.
That'll buy you 2 beignets.
Yep.
Over in when we hit New Orleans.
I was going to say it's a little gas money, but gas aside, it won't be much. But that is good, though. 2 parlays, $27. That's a little walking around money. I like that.
That's right. Get yourself
Like
some
that.
extra beignets there in New Orleans, too. All right, well, Brad, don't you spend all that money in one place. I'm going to let you out of here. It is your favorite part of the night, but I got more for y'all on the postgame show. Welcome back to Cavaliers Live, presented by Wayside Furniture. The Cavaliers beat the Bulls 115-110 here in Chicago. Let's head over to Kenny Atkinson for his postgame press conference presented by Wayside Furniture.
We had that bad stretch at the end of the third quarter. Couple turnovers. I think that gave them life. And in the fourth quarter, again, turnovers were a problem. And I think we missed our first 8 threes, I believe, until Sam hit that one. So, they got out in transition like they do. And 1 for 9 from 3. I felt like, we settled, could have gotten to the rim, more. Shots weren't going, get to the paint more, get the ball to Evan down low. So that's what happens in an NBA game. Credit to them. Again, they got out in transition, got to our rim too much.
What did you think of James tonight?
I mean, kind of saved us, but we can't rely on that. We can't rely on him. I know that's what he does. That's who he is. But I think people around him got to play better. We can't expect him to bail us out like that.
And then Jalen only played 2 minutes in the fourth quarter.
Didn't see much toe issue. Had an issue with his toe. Couldn't go back in the game.
Hey, when it comes to Jalen, his role has kind of fluctuated since the trade deadline with the new arrivals. For him to perform the way that he did when you put him in the starting line, what does that show you as a coach?
No, I thought he was good. I thought he was really good tonight. We would have finished with him tonight if it wasn't for the toe. He was, we were trying to get him going again. I think throwing him in the starting lineup, try to jumpstart him, and he answered the bell. So I thought he was really good. Jalen getting offensive rebounds, like all over the place, picking up Giddey full court. So credit to him. This is the NBA, right? This is how it goes. Your role changes, it moves around, and it's not easy. But it was good to see him bounce back tonight.
Before you guys went up 29 and seemingly had control of the game, you were down 11-2.
Yeah.
At the very beginning, and then called timeout. What was the message to the guys during that stoppage?
Yeah, I mean, they were, our number one key tonight was transition defense. I think they had 3 layups in transition. So you're like, what are we going to do? We're going to keep giving up layups in transition, just kind of give it to them matter of fact. And, we're not making shots right now. Sprint back, protect the basket. It was good to see us respond.
Anything else?
All right. Thanks, everybody.
We've got more coming up on the Cavaliers Live post-game show. Evan Mobley had a good game. Welcome back to Cavaliers Live, presented by Wayside Furniture. The Cavaliers beat the Bulls 115-110. It is the second stop of a 3-game road trip. So let's take a look at what the Cavaliers have in store for the next 4 games. On Saturday, it's a trip to the Bayou as the Cavaliers take on the Pelicans, who, interestingly, they won tonight. They beat the LA Clippers. After that, it's the Orlando Magic back at home, and they actually lost to the Charlotte Hornets tonight in an interesting turn of events there. That'll be a good one, though. You know, you've always got that one circled on the calendar. Magic, Cavaliers, there's just always something a little extra, and it is back at Rocket Arena. Nice little homestand here because the Miami Heat come to town. That is the second night of a back-to-back. Miami lost to the LA Lakers tonight, and then after that, another game against Miami. Those games are both at home, so nice little baseball series action there. Kenny says he likes those because it gets them ready for the playoffs and how they've got to adjust. All right. Thanks everybody for watching the Cavaliers Live post-game shows. The Cavs beat the Bulls they didn't make it easy there down the stretch, but it's not always easy for these Cavaliers. We'll see what they can do when we head to New Orleans. Can they stomp on the Pelicans and keep that momentum rolling? Will we see it on the defensive end? Will we see big nights from James Harden and Evan Mobley? Come join us over on FanDuel Sports Network.